Don't you just love technology nowadays? I mean, seriously, whether we're in pandemic mode or not pandemic mode, it's amazing what we can actually do. All right, Lucy, do you have anybody else that you're expecting that we should be waiting for? Okay, we're gonna get started. I am Jody. I'm seeing like four-wheelers out there. It's a little distracting. I live in Ontario. I am originally from South Carolina. We moved to Ontario, my goodness, I'm starting to lose track. 2009. So what was that? 11 years ago? 12 years ago? Something like that? 9, 11 years ago. We left South Carolina, and so if you guys can just all mute yourself if you're not muted already. We left South Carolina for Ontario, and yes, I am a Southerner at heart. Winters, they kind of grow on me eventually. We moved up here to work at a mission in Dryden. That is how I met Trish. Trish is going to be sharing her story tonight as well. What else do you want to know about me? Like, I'm a mom of 4. I'm married to the first person I ever dated. That was always like a dream of mine, and God answered that prayer. And I always wanted to marry a man who liked to balance checkbooks and who liked to do finances and deal with numbers, and God totally gave him to me. That's what I got. So my husband is the business administrator at the mission that we work at here. So here we go. This, I do have some notes for tonight. So if you kind of see me like looking down at my notes, that's why, because we do want to keep this within 30 minutes. We value your time. Thank you so much for joining us here. We value your time. We know you have little ones that need to get to bed. So we do have some notes to keep us on track. But the message is for you, and we hope that it is meaningful and helps you understand more of what we do and what we have to offer. Yes, in the line of health and wellness, and we'll share finances, our financial story as well. So the point of the call, though, is for you to see what we see for you, and to feel what we feel for you, and to experience what we have experienced, and hopefully come to the same conclusion that our family did, which is, I'm so sorry, I'm getting all mixed up. And we hope that you will see that this is actually something worth trying tonight. I finally came to that conclusion, and yes, it took me quite a while to get there. You're going to hear stories tonight, and we will invite you to decide for yourself whether or not this could be a good fit for you and in what you're looking for in your health goals or whatever. But I do want to say that we are a gut health company. You've probably heard Plexus. That's who we're with. We're a gut health company. There is a focus on weight management, whether it's needing to gain weight, needing to lose weight. It's all about balance in your body. We have an amazing line of skincare products. And believe it or not, those are like all, they all work together. They all have some very same things in common. They're all interrelated. There's so much that I'm not going to be able to tell you tonight. So keep in touch with the person who added you here, and I would love to share more with you later if you have more questions. There's so much good stuff. We can't share it all. But I will tell you, our supplements really are top notch. They're plant-based, they are non-GMO, and most of all, what has been the most meaningful to me is they actually work. They actually work when you use them properly, when you're consistent, when you're patient, and that is all part of my story. I know what it's like to use them inconsistently, and I know what it's like to use them consistently, and you guys, the results are totally different. By the way, my story started 4 years ago when I bought some of these supplements from a friend of mine that I went to church with. She was talking to me about them. I had already been watching another very long-time trusted friend on social media sharing about their products, but literally I almost never read her posts. I just made fun. Just thought, you know, I don't really know what she's talking about, but it doesn't make any sense. And literally it didn't make any sense to me because I didn't even try to learn about it. So I had bought some products from my friend. Her and I went to the same church, and I tried the pink drink off and on, literally. You know, I take it one day and then off the next. And you know, it just didn't work. And it didn't work until after about a year of Plexus floating around in my house. One day, I don't even know what made me decide, but one day I just said, okay, this is the day. I will never know unless I am consistent, and I want to know. We were a missionary family living completely off of donated funds. We were rich in love, but we were very limited in our financial resources. Our needs were met, but there was very little left over. And that is a lot of the reason why I didn't finally jump in sooner. When I started to really be open to the idea. Again, I didn't know what this stuff was. I had no idea that it had to do with hormones, and I didn't know what gut health was. I didn't know there was a such thing as good bacteria and bad bacteria, and a healthy, you know, that a healthy gut makes you feel good and an unhealthy gut kind of makes you feel like junk. I didn't know all that. I just really decided to trust my friends. So I was a mom of 4. My youngest was 7 months old. I had just quit breastfeeding for lack of supply. If only I could redo that, I would have started this about 2 months earlier because hormones. But I had quit the breastfeeding. She rarely slept 2 to 3 hours at night. I was exhausted. And I'm sure some of you mamas understand, you know. I woke up tired. I slept during the day. I went to bed exhausted. I crashed. And I was very soon awake again to her very disturbed sleeping. And this was pretty common for my children. Like, that was just pretty normal. My pregnancies were good, except for I was very tired, but they didn't sleep well after they were born. It was a terrible cycle, which is hard on a family. It's hard on the marriage. It's hard on all aspects of life. But you guys, I still did the things. Like, it didn't keep me from going to church, doing my shopping, cleaning my house, taking care of my kids. On the outside, I was very healthy. I would have always said that I was healthy. I remember one moment when I visited the doctor, I was slightly suspicious that maybe I was dealing with some postpartum depression. That was the only moment that I ever thought that maybe I wasn't completely healthy. But I would have said I was healthy. I was just tired. I didn't think these supplements could help because I blamed my fatigue on my baby not letting me sleep. The other fact is also true that I had struggled with fatigue for many, many years. I worked many years in radiology, and I became known for taking naps in my car on my lunch break in the hot South Carolina sun. Very true. In my teens, I began dealing with fatigue, constipation, and that carried into my adult life. My doctor back then, she's like, you're probably just dealing with some kind of IBS, and she sent me away with Miralax. Anxiety was a big thing in my life. Counseling began the healing of that journey, but I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get farther along in that journey. And it felt like it was just something I was going to have to deal with for the rest of my life. I used to deal with a lot of seasonal allergies, sleepless nights, head colds. Oh my goodness, lots of head colds. You know, all the Zyrtec, the Sudafed, the Claritin, I had them in my cabinets. The sleepless nights and the miserable days, I remember them. And I actually forget about them until I start seeing people posting on them on social media about this time of the year. And then I'm like, oh yeah. every year I dealt with 1 or 2 rounds of laryngitis. No kidding. It was very frustrating for me, but pretty sure it was probably a pleasant thing for some people in my life. But y'all, this began to change when I looked at that little stash of Plexus in my cupboard, and I just said to myself, you've got to stop hoarding this. Like, it's not doing any good sitting on your shelf. Stop hoarding it. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. You don't even have to know exactly how all they work. Just stop hoarding it. Start using it. And I also said, I don't even have to have it all figured out, like how I'm going to pay for it the next month. Like, just get started. You have it right here. And that's what I did. I didn't even tell my husband. You guys, I didn't even like the flavor of that first pink drink that we had 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was. I'm very, very picky in that way, but I was determined. I mixed it up every day and I drank it promptly. And you guys, our pink drink now tastes so much better. It is so delicious. We have a couple of flavors. I drank it on the days that I didn't feel like it. I drank it on the days it didn't seem to make one iota of a difference. I drank it on the days that I was still tired. And then one day I noticed. My husband even noticed. He's like, you're not really exhausted at the end of the day like you used to be. And y'all, right then and there, it was like both of us knew we had something in our hands that was going to make a difference for our family. Because when mama feels good, the rest of the family feels good. When mama's tired and mama's grumpy, everybody else is tired and grumpy. When it came to sharing publicly about these products, I'm like, I don't do these things. This isn't going to be me going all public about it. This is my private little thing that I'm doing. And then something told me I need to do these things. There's other people out there that need to hear my story. I need to be brave and I need to take a risk, a small risk, really. I knew I needed to do this. I always wanted to have my own business. I always loved people and wanted to make an impact, but I wanted to do it in my own quiet way. I'm an extrovert and I'm kind of an introvert too. So I remember thinking, I can just, and kind of what pushed me over the edge, I'm not sure, I don't think I quite have this in my notes here, but when Plexus launched into Canada, it was legal. I could legally publicly talk about it. And that's, I just knew it was my time. And I remember thinking, and I remember telling my friend who helped me get started, I said, if I can just make $1,000 a month, that would be great. And I was so grateful when I hit $1,000 a month, but it's definitely blown past that for us. Being able to make our mortgage payment has been a huge contribution that I have been able to make to our family. And I can do this all while being a stay-at-home mom. And I can't tell you how blessed I have felt in the midst of this pandemic that's going on these days, to not have this affect my income in a negative way and to not have this affect me. I mean, in fact, it's actually been in a very positive way, believe it or not. It's gone completely opposite, which blows me away. But the fact is, we have something that a lot of people want and need. We have something for boosting immune systems. That's what so many people are after right now. We have better health in nice, neat little packages. And when you combine that with some other tools that I'm sure you probably have in your tool belt, you know, exercise and drinking your water, and the more tools you have, the more of an impact it's going to make. But we have an incredible program that blesses you big time when you share with other people and you help them to get better health. And it's been an incredible journey to be here. So I want to invite Trish on the other side of Canada over there to share her story. And I got to know Trish when she also came to work at the mission here where we're at. And then we ended up neighbors in town. And we have some really fun neighborly stories between us. Yeah, Trish was the person that I called at 11 o'clock at night when I was mixing up my sourdough bread and I didn't have oil and the stores were closed. That was Trish. Go ahead, Trish.
All right. So I'm going to make a correction here. I don't live on the other side of Canada. I live in the U.S.
I forget. Right, I know that. I'm envisioning you 6 months ago. Okay.
Yes. 6 months ago, I was on the other side of Ontario, or a year ago, actually. Anyway, fun story. I'm just going to say this because it just makes it more fun. Jody, how do I start this? So I was at Jody's house one Sunday afternoon to pick up some rook cards because I had guests and I wanted to play rook with them, but I didn't have my own set of rook cards. And so I went to Colin and Jody's place to get rook cards. And in the 3 minutes that I was there, we somehow got onto the topic of getting married. And I was like, it's totally okay to get married when you're in your upper 20s or 30. It's no big deal. Single is fun. And Jody had no idea that my very new boyfriend was in the car in her yard waiting for me. And I wasn't publicizing it yet. And my boyfriend was actually a coworker. So Jody knew him too. Anyway, so
I know him since he was a baby. I know him since his mom was pregnant with him.
So anyways, Jody has been on a lot of interesting things in my life, and I've even gone to her house when I didn't feel like being at my house, and I made supper for her once or twice, so that was fun. Anyway, so my Plexus story started long before Jody's did, actually, and I'm just privileged to be with Jody now. So I started Plexus about a year after I had had a concussion. I had actually had 3 concussions at this point, and all 3 of those concussions had happened in the space of about 1 year. If you're familiar with concussions at all, you know that is kind of a dangerous place to be. Often, in my research back then, the 3rd concussion could actually turn you into a vegetable. So I avoid ice skating and a lot of activities that could end up injuring my head. Anyway, so that's why I was starting with Plexus, because of these concussions. I wasn't getting any better. I was actually getting a lot worse. I was sleeping 18 hours a day. Changing out of my pajamas was a huge win. I tried to do it just to have supper with my family every night, but that didn't always happen. Socializing was always completely exhausting, which was hard on me because people were my life back then. My parents were getting very worried about me, and so when they heard about Plexus, they decided that I needed to start with Plexus, and Plexus was not in Canada at this time. I noticed changes almost immediately, and I didn't actually like that. I was very annoyed because I thought Plexus was a stupid fad. But soon I was just really thankful about these changes, and so I talked about it with my cousin. So I guess I didn't initially start out talking about it because it was so incredible for me to actually feel good enough to interact and not forget people's names. I was having that difficulty. I had dropped out of piano lessons. I had dropped out of high school. I would look at you and not know who you were. I would lose my train of thought mid-sentence and be like, and what was I talking about and why was it a good idea? Then after several months, I noticed I no longer had a constant yeast infection, and this was like the turning point for me. And I'm like, I love Plexus, and I don't care how many haters there are. If I don't have to have a yeast infection, this is the best thing ever, because I was convinced that I would have yeast infection for the rest of my life, and you all know that stuff is not fun. About a year ago, so in 2019, I decided to sign up as an ambassador, more out of convenience than anything else. Soon after that, I moved to Indiana, where I live now, and I quickly discovered that I had a lot of time on my hand every single day, and so I decided to give the business a try. I didn't have a work permit, and so I couldn't get a job here in the States, but the beauty of online sales or whatever, multi-level marketing, that sounds kind of negative, I guess, but just the beauty of having a business online is that you can work it anywhere in the world and is perfectly legal. And being legal is really important to me because paperwork asks a lot of specific questions. So I jumped into the business, and here I am. I am now at the level of super silver, and just dreaming of continuing to go further with it. I do work a part-time job right now, but y'all, I want to work from home. So I am working towards it because this girl would way rather be like talking to people in Zoom calls and messaging people and empowering people in their health and in their health journey than feeding cows and chickens, because y'all, I work at a feed mill selling feed. I don't mix the feed, but I work at the computer, so I feed animals now, and I'd way rather feed people. So Jody, you can take it away from here. Did I freeze?
Thank you. I forgot to mute myself. I am really sorry. And I think we might have lost your last 10 minutes, Trish, your last 10 words when I laughed. I think we got it.
What I just said is that I work at a feed mill and I feed animals, and I'd rather feed people.
Yes, I love it. That is so true. So you guys, we're going to have to wrap this up really quickly here. These are our stories. Some of you are going to listen to our stories and you're going to say, there's no way that I can do this. I'm going to encourage you to consider taking a leap of faith, because if I can do it, honestly, anyone can do it. I used to be the person that would say that there's no way that I could do this. I mean, for me to be here leading a call like this would have just totally freaked me out. One thing that I can promise you, though, is that we can teach you. We are dedicated to teaching people. There are some of you that are like, I can't do this until I try the products. And you guys, it's fine. Like, there's room for you. We would like to, if that's you, then we're going to start you off on a program, a line for you to learn to fall in love with your products. And we can teach you to get your products paid for as well. You don't have to be an expert. You guys, I wasn't an expert and I'm still not an expert. We have amazing resources where we can learn more about our products and how we can help people. I'm a stay-at-home mom, right? So it works, and I'm here living proof that it really does. So I had no experience. I had zero in sales and marketing. There are some of you that are sitting here and you're asking yourself quietly in the back of your mind, you might be wondering, like, you know, could I actually, you know, take advantage of this opportunity to the fullest extent? So are there some leadership opportunities available? And absolutely, there's room for you too. I love the beauty of what this company has to offer. You know, wherever you're at, there's room for you. I love that our company is in Australia, Mexico, Canada, and the United States. So what we want to ask you to do today is to get with a person that got you connected on the call here. They're going to be following up with you very likely tonight or first thing in the morning. And they're going to help you figure out where you're at. Number one, are you a 1, 2, or 3? Are you number 1? You're a product user. You know, you want to try the products and see what they can do for you. Number 2, you might be going, I'd like to try those products and maybe get my products paid for. Or maybe you're a 3 and you're going, what are the leadership opportunities for me in what we have shared here tonight? You can tell them if you're a 1, a 2, or a 3, where you see yourself. What are your questions? Where do you see yourself after listening to this call? And just in closing here, before we finish up, I just want you to know that we have a special offer for you because you took the time out of your busy evening to join us on the call tonight. And we're so, so grateful for that. We appreciate that, that you are here listening to our stories. You know, our stories are so meaningful to us and we love sharing them with other people. And as a sign of our gratitude, we are offering you a $10 rebate when you place your order in the next 24 hours. So we want you to talk with the person that got you here, talk about where you see yourself. You might have some questions, but we want to help make this work for you. And when you combine that offer with the sales and the promos that we have going on this month already, because our company has been so generous because of COVID, they have offered a number of sales. It allows you to get basically a free membership, which allows you to get products at our price. So for those of you in the next 24 hours, that $10 is there as a rebate for you. We hope that you will take advantage of it. We thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining us here. And we wish you the best and want the best for you and your health. Get with the person that brought you on here tonight. And thank you. That's all we have. We're going to say goodbye. We're going to try to wrap it up right at our 30 minutes. See you guys.